So hi there and welcome to another Monday morning message from me. Slightly different approach this week. I'm recording from the screen as I speak, so a slightly new experience. And last week we talked about mind maps, and this week I thought I would share a particularly impressive mind map with you. So this is an example of a mind map that's actually been created by a colleague of mine, Andrew Wilcox, who I hope won't mind me sharing his contact details with you there, but you'll treat them respectfully, I'm sure. And I told you I was going off to a conference on last Monday, 20th of June, and that was to talk to some pretty influential people about entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship can actually inspire and help us recover from this economic recession that we're in. So this was about the role of high growth businesses. And Carl Schramm, the CEO of the Kauffman Foundation, which is an American-based organisation, a fund that's specifically there to research and indeed support entrepreneurial activity and entrepreneurs in their greater growth. And it took place at Nesta, which is an organisation here in the UK that specifically supports innovation and entrepreneurship. So Jeff Mulligan, the CEO of Nesta, he spoke particularly about why entrepreneurship needed to be addressed more, and he drew attention to the fact that unemployment wasn't actually dropping at the moment, and for that reason entrepreneurship was actually going to become a necessity as much as anything. Now, a lot of this was supported by research in terms of startup growth and the support that new small businesses give to an economy. Now, the statistics came out of Britain, but Carl Schramm, the CEO of Kauffman, did agree that these were very reflective of what was going on in America too, and indeed the rest of the world. So I just thought I'd share this with you because I think you might find it quite interesting. What I found particularly fascinating was the knowledge that innovation does actually matter. Now, of course, I believe that to be true, but it was just interesting to hear people like this speak of how important innovation actually is. Now, innovation ensures a continuity in terms of high growth, and it tends to reduce the rate of shrinkage too, because one of the statistics that was mentioned, which was quite fascinating, which I suppose actually wasn't really that surprising, was the fact that basically 60 to 80% of new startups fail. But that's not necessarily a problem, because through that failure rate comes a lot of growth and understanding too. What was also interesting was that although 86% of companies seem to be created by people mainly in their 20s, it was usually companies with people started by people over 40 who had the experience and the energy to still keep going with it all that really turned out to be these high growth companies. So irrelevant of your age, you've got the potential to do incredibly well in this new economy. There's a crying out for more startups, and the question that kept being asked was, how do we actually get businesses to start up? How do you start a business? Well, these are questions which you and I can actually answer to a certain extent. We know it takes passion. It takes a hell of a lot of passion, but it also takes a lot of endurance and perseverance. Now, this is what's being held responsible for growing the economy, for producing greater wealth, and indeed for acting as inspiration in terms of growing more startups in the future. So it was really suggested that there was no need to help these incumbents, the big established businesses, and actually that they should almost be allowed to crumble if that's indeed what's happening to them. Because the example that Carl Schramm gave was actually in Detroit, where had some of the larger enterprises been allowed to kind of die their natural death, then a plethora of innovation centres would have actually opened in their place. So the advice was really to get out there and start doing it. That there's sometimes too much advice that can actually be incredibly confusing and not necessarily that enlightening, and that really we need to stay innovative if we want to grow and expand in this new economy. There was a real need for government to not interfere. That was the main kind of reason that came out of this. But innovation again and again seemed to come up as being of paramount importance. This was the bit at which I contributed. But basically 97, it says 95 there, but it was 97% of patents in this country are actually filed by men. So, you know, just by upping the ante, ladies, we've got so many innovative ideas and so many opportunities to really grow and start becoming these high growth organisations. We really can see entrepreneurship as a way to help ourselves and the country recover from the recession that it seems to find itself in, whatever country you're in. So that was the message I wanted to share with you, as well as sharing this outstanding example of a mind map. If you think that some of the information on here may be of interest to you, then all you've got to do is stick your name and email address in the little box below and let me know that you'd like a copy of it, and I will email you a link to where you can find it so you can peruse it at your pleasure. Anyway, great talking to you. Speak to you again next week. Take care. Goodbye.